The odds seemed insurmountable. We had arrived in the town of Villanova after a forced march through the icy mountain passes, more or less completely exhausted. But the polkovnik had made clear that there was no time to lose, and that the whole campaign would be decided by who managed to take and hold the city of Pescara. The Syndicalists had broken through the lines held by weak papal troops there, and were pouring more and more battalions in every hour, pushing relentlessly south into the undefended rear and approaching the capital of Naples. If we managed to secure the port, their lines of communication would be completely cut. They would be boxed in by the mountain heights still in friendly hands and ground down by artillery. If they held the port, Italy would fall to the Third International, and we were the only ones in a position to stop them. Our first assault at the village of Santa Teresa went well. We didn't use artillery preparations, and they clearly didn't expect us. The small guard garrison quickly surrendered. But then began the Battle of Pescara. The enemy, of course, knew what was at stake, and we had to fight them through the streets house by house. When we finally cleared them out and started preparing our own defenses, we got news that several socialist divisions were counterattacking from the south. We didn't have time to dig in, and losses began to mount, so we were forced to retreat back into Santa Teresa. We were exhausted. We needed rest. Many of us were wounded. But we had gotten word that the socialists didn't know we had evacuated and were hesitant to enter the city. That's when the polkovnik decided to take any man from the 64th and 60th that could walk and get back into the city to hold it at all costs before the enemy secured the port again. So here we are today, fighting with all we have, defending every house, ambushing any probing attempt. They won't get through, and the 60th and 64th Mountain will go down in the history books as the divisions that won the war in Italy. In China, we won't be able to hold the east bank of the river, so we'll get the troops to fall back and see if we can at least re-secure the southern position here. But slowly but surely the Japanese are grinding us back here, and if they manage to land additional troops anywhere, then things are going to be dire for China. In the States, we are stuck as well. The key position here is the town of, or the city of St. Louis, because that is the key supply hub that keeps the Northern Front alive. We have created a massive cauldron from our push through Chicago, but we now got stuck in the forests south of St. Louis. So we'll let the tank divisions rest and plan the assault against the entrenched divisions here. And then we'll try to cross the river south of St. Louis, cut off the city, close the cauldron, and then destroy the core of the enemy army. So this war is going in our favor as well. And in Italy, right now the mountain divisions just have to hold. So they are getting counterattacked by the desperate 30th and 24th infantry divisions, but they are cut off from supply, so they should be starting to lose some fighting power relatively soon. And then I think we can clean up, all in all, force a surrender of 13 divisions in this area. So that is going to be a monumental victory, and hopefully turns the war in our favor. Once that's done, then these glorious divisions will move north, and we will push through further towards defeating the Italians. We could attempt to send volunteers to the Papal States. We could send one more division. So that if we do have a mountain division available, that might not be a terrible idea, just to assist with holding Rome, because it looks like the Papal States might be falling reasonably soon. We do have a fair amount of German divisions running around here as well, which is odd that we'll be seeing ourselves fighting on the same side for once. But, it is all about the balance. So let's see if we can send some additional volunteers to Rome, and then make a move north once that happens. Other than that, we're still training a fair amount of divisions, as we should. We are still way below our division limit, so we do need additional troops. But what we need even more urgently is aircraft. We've started building the KHT-100 flame tanks. They will come into, but production is slowly ramping up here. And we're now finally starting to have some factories available for aircraft, but we are going to need more. So I might, we've got a bit of infrastructure to work our way through still, and then I will get back to building more military factories. And we do at some point need to begin synthetic plants as well for additional rubber for ramping up the aircraft production. Many things that still need doing, but for now, probably the most important fight is happening in Italy. And in case you were wondering what the problem with the inefficient contract here is, we are trying to sell the aircraft to the two Sicilies. The problem is that the convoy routes are being interdicted, which means that, and we actually have to remove this front line here. That means the convoys can't get through safely, and that means we are not getting the trade through. Well, that'll resolve itself at some point, but for now, let's see if let's make sure that these two divisions are holding. I do have enough, and I do have actually a fair amount of command power right now. We can also use max is 160, so we can still go up a little bit further. But we can use that probably for some promotions if there are any available. All right, Science to Victory is complete. We're going to see, this is going to be taking lessons from the Germans, and that unlocks Golovin as a theorist. The problem is obviously we don't have the political power to actually hire a theorist. But he would be the firepower proponent, and he would give us a 15% land doctrine cost, which is, and a pretty big artillery focus, which is something that I'm happy with, because that's sort of the direction. Heavy weaponry is the direction I would like things to go eventually, once we actually get to the point of having a sufficient industry to make it in the first place. All right, we've got a few things that need doing. We could do these sponsor Belgrade and get Greece, Romania, or the Serbians potentially involved with us, given that we've helped them in the earlier war. And it gives us additional power projection, which is helpful. But is there anything more urgently that we currently need to do? We do still need to go through here. We still need to address the people, and we need to construct the Wrangel line. That takes 56 days. That's a really, really long one. So I think many things we need to do, especially in the military tree. We are also in the Air Force tree. We are very it gives us air bases, which is great, but what we are in need is actual production of them. A lot of things that we need to do, but I think sponsoring Belgrade and securing that might be a good one to do first. Potentially securing the southern flank here and driving a wedge between the old central powers. That would be a very interesting thing to do indeed. That said, we do have a good amount of army experience at this point, and we do also need to get potentially the Air Force spirits up. But I'm saving up the air experience because we're not having an awful lot of it, simply because we're not fighting in the air at this point. All right, for now, we are going to see how that these are working out. We're bringing actually, I would like to extend the front line here, because we are not going to break. Yeah, there's too many divisions in St. Louis. So we'll try and attack south, but we'll wait until the plan preparation has been completed. And in China, we're moving to just defend at this point. We'll be falling back here. There's no point in trying to hold this position. We cannot hold it. So we'll fall back and just defend the lines here, I think, rather than wasting Russian lives needlessly. All right. That leaves us with the determined defense of of Pescara and see that we can hold out against, but I think we've almost defeated the 30th. And yeah, they're absolutely running out of supplies. So I think we'll then dig in and get ready for the counterattack to remove, force the surrender of this massive encirclement. The myth of October. After the Civil War, Russia had come to terms with the bloody events. What could ever explain the levels of atrocities were committed against each other? Unsurprisingly, the Bolsheviks became vilified, and suddenly even most of the socialists were competing over who had opposed the Bolsheviks first, in an attempt to prove they were on the right side of history. Yeah, this tends to happen. Those preaching for leniency and national healing, like Maklakov and Chernov, were left a minority in the early 1920s, and the vindictive purge of anything communist left a dark stain on the Russian Republic's claim of legality and liberty. After many high-level communists, such as Rykov, had served their sentences going into the 30s, they joined with the Radical Democratic Party. Despite President Maklakov's attempts to de-escalate the situation, the gulf between the left and the right kept widening. Yeah, this is a problem we still have, although they have been somewhat marginalized by a strong liberal center. Where was I? SRS combat squads assassinated communists in broad daylight, while underground socialist radicals tried to fight back. It was against the backdrop of this violence that the ascension of the SRS would happen, culminating in Savinkov coming to power in 1934. Under Savinkov's regime, history textbooks were amended to reflect white history, white in terms of white Russian, not like a racial thing, which emphasizes how Bolshevism was part of an international conspiracy orchestrated by Jews, Germans, and national minorities, with the goal of destroying Russia. Yeah, it mirrors, doesn't it? These conspiracies were quickly scrubbed after a more sane regime returned to power, but a massive gulf remains between our views on the Civil War. We must teach our history impartially, but always include a warning against communism there to remind the Russian people to never repeat the bloodshed and tragedy of the revolution. Teaching history and teaching history impartially is one of the most important things in my personal opinion, and is something that is essential for a functioning democracy. Because if you don't know about your history, or you believe in a wrong account of your own history, then it's easy to manipulate this. There's a good reason for Orwell's 1984 to have the Department of Truth and to, rewrite history or just erase history constantly. Because if you control history and language, then you control a society. And that's something you constantly must be vigilant about. The cycle of hatred must be broken, plus 1% gain-based stability. Yeah, we'll take it. We're at 80%. We can, after doing the Belgrade one, address the people. This will gives us extra 10% and reduce the anger on both sides, which is currently at 2, which isn't very high, but it certainly will help. So that's that. Anyway, back to the drawing board. Okay, the assault has been defeated, and as long as they're not breaking out, we can give the two mountain divisions a little bit of time to rest and recover. Plant preparations are slowly progressing in the states here, but it looks like that the New York City Red Guard is actually moving towards St. Louis to reinforce the lines there, which would only leave the second Golden Torch in the defense here, which I think is an opportunity we can have to make that breakthrough happen. All right, in China we are. Getting to the defensive lines, and that's, I think, where we're just going to stay for the time being. So let's keep an eye on the Sicilies and ensure that nobody breaks out from here, because we do obviously still operate under a fiercely competitive aerial bombardment. And we'll give the divisions time to reorganize, and then we'll join the assault here. But I think this is won at this point, so that's good news. And yes, the tanks are running relatively low on fuel and everything else, but we do need to get the New York City Red Guards to vacate this position before we launch another assault south in the southern direction. And we'll just have to be patient here. until we can see them move. In the Sicilies, we are... this German the 109th Infantry is trying to break through, but obviously... Well, we'll let them weaken each other there. Okay, they have moved. All right. So now we join the fight and see if we can break through that Golden Torch division there. We should be able to get 3 tank divisions on, and then it's immediately push forward south of St. Louis. That is going to give us trouble in terms of supply, but taking St. Louis is the key, and we're not going to get through, going to get across the bridges with armored divisions. That Golden Torch division, however, is way more. That is way more powerful than I thought it was going to be. What are these Marines? Yeah, these Marines. This is a massive Marine division. So we'll see. We are a bit low on fuel. We are very low on fuel, actually. We'll see if we can manage to engage the other 2 divisions and break their defenses there. Okay, Sicily. We are ready to rejoin the assault. So. We'll do that. We'll open up another flank, and I think we will be able to help wiping out the last remaining divisions here. In fact, it's probably actually better to join at the coastline first, and then cut them off in the mountains, because that's where fewer are actually engaged. So yeah, they are completely out, and that brings us back here, where we are trying to break through. And we've still got the 2 reserve divisions that need to get in before. In fact, I think we'll be stopping the assault for a second here, and instead of going with all 3 divisions in, we'll go with 2 divisions and letting the 3rd reorganize. Oh, they got reinforcements again. This is going to be a difficult one to break. Okay, so we're not getting through that division. The City Red Guard's actually not that important, but the biggest problem is supply for us, because we're losing a lot on breakthrough, and these guys can actually get through the armor. So their guns are capable of penetrating our tank armor, which makes them a lot less effective than we would like them to be. It might be. Yeah, I think what we'll do instead of this is that division in a forest, we're not taking that on. What we'll do instead is we'll try to concentrate 3 divisions and see if we can get across, if we can take the bridges to St. Louis. Simply because the Red Guards in St. Louis are a lot less combat capable than that elite division. Here we are making our way through, and yeah, I think we've almost got them encircled, and then once we've driven them into the mountains, then we are going to eradicate the rest, and then sweep north towards Ancona. Rome is still standing, but we'll have to, just with German assistance, we'll have to see how that goes. 76mm 1939 model is complete, which is great. That is giving us the assault gun tank module, which I'm very interested about, because I haven't used that before. We'll see if we can actually create a tank model that uses that. This is still ahead of time. Don't need these. This is still, we could go for construction 4. It's 2 years ahead of time, but we've still got 100% bonus, so we could rush that. It's still pretty much double. Or we could start researching new rifles. Probably new rifles is the better choice here. There is, we're doing field. There is a potential opportunity for maintenance companies. I don't usually use maintenance companies because I'm not also planning to. There are armored support vehicles now, which I totally haven't looked into what they're good for. It's pretty much reliability and equipment salvage, so we won't have such high losses. But at the same time, it's yet another support company slot. So it might be interesting, but we will see. we will see what we can do. This needs the military engineering vehicle. Then we could get armored engineer companies. That would also be quite interesting. How do they differ? They have obviously tanks. They need tanks, but I don't really see any massive difference short of the entrenchment. They add one additional point of entrenchment for a bit more supply. And potentially the bonuses are different. Okay, yeah, we get, oh yeah, definitely better. So that might be an interesting one as well once we get that done. But I'm waiting for a second breakthrough point so we could get the big artillery triplex going. But that's land research. So I think we'll do rifles. We get that in early, and there we go. Then we can get to the production. Talking about production, we have to, we can also convert a fair amount of older material, which I think is going to be, no, it's not actually going to be faster than making the new ones. It's just going to make because I haven't researched the conversion techs. So I may as well not bother then. I can send that to somebody, probably to the Chinese. But we can replace the towed artillery. Now, we do need to create a variant that, no, it actually does use the MIO. Okay, so that doesn't need it, so we just have to replace it. Okay, so that gets replaced by that, and that did not happen. So it probably added, it added a new one. Of course it did. I have to close that. They still haven't fixed that bug. Close that, open that again, and then where is it? Where is here it is, 76mm artillery. Is that going to speed up production? It is not. But again, yeah, so because I haven't researched the conversion text, so it doesn't really help. But we have another point in the TOS military MIO, and there was a policy that was really interesting because that'll automatically start granting these medals to random divisions every 50 days. So the earlier we get this, the better. This might actually be worth the 25 political power. Now we are 28 days away from the next action in the stronghold of the German capital, before we can eventually, I think, default. I'm not even sure if we need to do the default on the debt or if we just raise the tariff wall, but all of these have stability implications. So we'll just try to do whatever we can without actually affecting the stability of things. But 28 days, so we're going to have enough political power. So this might actually be a really interesting policy to select early on, because the earlier I do it, the more we get these medals, and these medals can be these medals are granting. I should have really done these up top, really, instead of doing the equipment ones. But we've got half of it now, so at least that's that, because I can't take them anymore. But is there anything still that affects the medals here? These are actually interesting, because these are that's a quality focus, and the decisions will actually grant the medals by themselves. I mean, we can grant the medals I guess, just using decisions. So it's probably fine. All right, so we've done these two. We've got a bit of a balance between things. We've got to do this one to get down here still, or this. Okay, that reduces the funds as well. Okay, so we can get high quality spring-loaded shock absorbers for soft attack and defense. These are mutually exclusive. Okay, I think I'm starting to figure out how this works. Sorry for the delay. This would be just making it cheaper to give the medals. So we don't need to update the equipment. This is soft attack defense. Yeah. We're only using that for infantry equipment. Yes, and we're researching new ones. So we should probably get that done before. This is going to up the production cost by 15%, but it does give us the best values of everything. And this is the production efficiency gain halved. Oh, that's harsh, but it's making it higher quality. We still got these to go through, so that's 5% breakthrough. That's soft attack and defense. I'll take this one. Okay, we don't need to update it, so we've got this one, and the medals should be, yeah, we can start spending funds once we're done with the whole thing and giving them medals. So let's save up the political power. We need it for other things. Tempting, but we still have economic projects that need happening. That would be oil, and that would be 2 military factories. Oh, that's also tempting, but that's 50 political power, which we don't currently have. No, I think probably the next political power might go into an advisor that actually, given that we still have the 33% cost reduction, that actually helps us with construction of political power. So let's do that anyway. That's all good. We bank that, and we're getting back to the, let's see, these are still moving in. These are holding positions at this point. Yeah, they've been pushed back. So here we're just on the defense, honestly. We're literally just digging in and defending here. And here we are on the attack, about to break these lines here. There we go. And now these should be, yeah, these are encircled, which means that they have nowhere left to go. So that battle, once it's resolved, should be a massive loss. That was a counterattack actually. Should be a massive loss for the Germans, for the Syndicalists in Italy. And we have a division in the Papal States. All right. Do we still have a field marshal around? No, they're all otherwise occupied, I think, at this point. So we are going to get, actually there should be one. I only have 4 volunteers. Let me sort that out. Okay, Piotr Wrangel himself was actually otherwise occupied. So we'll position north here, just holding the line at this point while we are clearing out the encirclement, and the tanks are getting counterattacked. So there may be an opportunity. In fact, we are getting attacked by the Golden Torch. These people are causing us all kinds of grief. But that actually may be an opportunity for a counterattack once they exhaust themselves. And they're trying to break out from St. Louis. So if we can defend this and then counterattack south, we might have our approach towards St. Louis. And here, yeah, we're still grinding them down. So here we are going to have to pay a little bit of attention. And once the assault here has been defeated, we're immediately going to go into the counterattack with 2 armored divisions, and then trying to see if we can push them out from here. All right, counterattack. That obviously now means the Golden Torch division is in multiple combat because they are actually attacking north, and we are pushing south. Somebody mentioned that I should be working against the Ottomans, but there's no war going on yet in Central Asia, so not something I need to worry about too much. We are defending north of Rome at this point, together with 5 German infantry divisions, so we can probably learn a bit from the enemy. And yeah, these guys are completely out of supply. They're, why is that only minus 10%? That should be higher. It used to be 30. Did that get changed? Maybe. Anyway, that's ongoing. So we'll keep a very close eye now on the States, where we may be able to fight our way through this enemy position here, if we can, because we've already pushed back the New York City Red Guard. So it's now the Golden Torch division, which is fighting now on multiple fronts, and we may be able to get through them. The problem is, yeah, they've got some intelligence advantage here, and the commander knows what he's doing as well. But I don't think they can hold two fronts. So let's see if we can manage to push them out while the 5th Mechanized is doing everything it can to hold on against the attacks in the north. All right, China, we're defending, and here we're working on it. All right, so that's all clear, and we are making our way ever further south here, trying to get this situation sorted against that very powerful division. That might have been a tactical mistake from them to launch the assault north here. But let's see, how's the air situation? We actually have green air here, so we should be able to inflict some damage on them. But they're probably relatively well camouflaged in the forests. So that attack is going to relieve the embattled 5th, which is trying to hold against assaults coming out of St. Louis and from the south here. Meanwhile, friendly troops have taken Indianapolis, so they're actually expanding eastwards, but we're still fighting on this sort of pivotal battle here. Meanwhile, we have sponsored Belgrade, which is now giving us potentially. Okay, would have given us potentially options to invite the Serbians and the Greek, but unfortunately, I have to complete the preemptive war focus first. Which one is that? Oh, it's this one. Okay, so that's unfortunate. It didn't tell me that, obviously, that these come with preconditions. This could also be Moscow Economic Council. This could also be really powerful. All right, but that said, I said we were going to do addressing of the people to reduce the anger, and then we have decisions available. We could, no, not doing that. We could influence Poland, but it's very expensive, so we're not doing that. And we could demand Armenia from which Ottoman controlled apparently. Not something we have to worry about right now. So we'll be banking political power at this point. And let's see how are the Sicilians going. Okay, still a few divisions left, but they are getting ground down over time here. So we'll keep an eye on the front in the Americas, where I think we are winning this battle by, together with the Colorado militia, evicting this powerful division. Oh, and they've reinforced. Dang it! No! This I could have done without. They've brought in the 16th New York City Continental, unfortunately. But we'll keep the fight up. We'll see if we can manage to push the Golden Torch out and take on and these guys as well seem to have advanced weaponry that allows them to break our armor, which is very unsettling all in all. This is very unfortunate that they managed to reinforce this. But we'll still see if we can manage to at least evict the 2nd division here out. And we are now getting counterattacked from the other sides as well. So this is starting to look... No, they've reinforced with 2 divisions. Okay, we're not breaking this. I don't think we'll take St. Louis. Okay. Too little infantry support. Too much opposition here. Instead, what we'll do is we will attempt to break in from the north. Let's see if we can use momentum to break through the enemy divisions there. So abandon that, retreat north. We can't close. We've pushed too far here out of our supply lines. We can't get through there. So we'll have to find another way. Okay, the last enemy divisions here are in the mountains, are encircled, out of supply, and multiple combat. They're still trying to fight back valiantly, but they are getting ground down now. So there is... and in fact, I think we may actually have to help defend Rome here, although the Germans are helping to hold in the north. Vicious counterattacks there. All right, these were the last divisions. So we now have 92,000 enemy troops either surrendered or perished in the mountains in winter here. And that is a massive, massive, that is going to be a massive influx from friendly troops, which can now start moving north, and has been a massive defeat for the Syndicalists, which means we are going to return here and see if we can make our way slowly northwards, while the 34th is assisting with the desperate defense here north of Rome. That was South Africa. Oh yeah, how's the war in South Africa going? It looks like the Republic of South Africa is managing to push back against some of the uprisings there. Yeah, given that Rhodesia has joined the Entente, we're not interested in that particular battlefield. But let's see that we can get the tank divisions out. They will probably have to. Yeah, they're starting to lose a fair amount of equipment at this point. So they need to move. Yucatan has capitulated. They need to move north and try a different angle, and we'll try that from there. Here, yeah, we're just digging in and defending, and we'll have to build up the entrenchment, although it's not great. We could take the static warfare, which would really help with the entrenchment situation. That's probably not a bad decision. 50 army experience, however, is expensive, but I'm going to have to do it eventually anyway. This isn't going to get any cheaper. I think Battalions of Death is an interesting one. But I think static warfare is especially. It's 10% max entrenchment. Actually, it's not going to do an awful lot. Because we haven't taken, we're not going down the grand battle plan doctrine, which would have given us 10 entrenchment and then the field marshal ones. Okay, I'll keep it open for now. We'll see how it goes, but not the greatest entrenchment at the moment. Also, do these? Yeah, they don't actually have. They don't actually have combat engineers. That's also something that needs to change. All right, we are 10 days away from the next stronghold of German capital. We could modify the government at this point, but no, we need the political power to start the next one. So let's see how things are going. We are getting pushed back here along the front line a little. So troops are falling back everywhere, and yeah, they're actually pushing us back. Pushing us back on multiple directions. So let's try to find a new angle. We should have more supply here in Illinois than we have in the south here, which is just too much. So let's disengage from that and make our way back to make our way towards the new front lines. And Syria has joined the Cairo Pact, and Egypt has declared war on the Ottoman Empire. Okay, that's probably what people were talking about. So, Syria has about the chance of a snowball in hell to stand up against the Ottomans. Egypt, on the other hand, might be a different factor altogether. So we could send some volunteers to Egypt, and we could send 3 divisions. So that might be an interesting option to start reducing the Ottoman Empire, which is obviously a strategic foe here for the Black Sea for us and has been historically trouble. Plus, they are bordering now the Moscow Accord. So weakening them would be an interesting option indeed. We are trying to defend, trying to hold the lines in the north here, despite the fact that they've lost 13 divisions. The northern Italians are still pretty combat effective, actually. But we're still waiting for additional troops to actually arrive along the lines here. But that said, I'm not seeing an awful lot of them. So let's see. Let's see if the front lines can stabilize a bit, and we can find another way of potentially breaking through their lines here. All right. What was I saying? Yes, we need to send troops to Egypt. All right. 3 divisions under General Turkul on their way to Egypt, and to help against the three guards divisions to help against the Ottomans. We are in December 1938. I think once we're into 1939, we'll also have to start dealing with the supply situation in the front lines here, because the railways are less than ideal. So there are actually a few railway decisions here. Moscow Chelyabinsk and Chelyabinsk-Irkutsk, I think. Not necessarily helpful. I think I'm probably just going to manually upgrade. That's all that does, right? And it gives us some stability, but it's 80 days, and it costs consumer good factories, and it gets it's like 6% stability, which I'm not sure we 100% need. I think we can do this later. But I will have to start upgrading the railway infrastructure here along the front lines, just in order to be able to even support the troops here. So that's unfortunately coming in. We might need an advisor. We also need to get out of the early mobilization, because we need to get to partial mobilization. We do need to get to a limited conscription, because we are running very much out of manpower. So there are still many things to do for 1939. To get ready for a potential confrontation with the German Empire and the Reichspakt. So that's going to be a tough fight. So we'll try not to waste too many resources. While the Syndicalists here are counterattacking quite successfully. How is the situation supply-wise here? It's also not ideal. It's all depending on Chicago, really. And we've got 3 armored divisions trying to be supplied through Chicago, actually trying to fall back north now. And that means we'll see if we can actually refuel successfully in the north there. And we need to replenish some of the lost equipment, actually. But in the Middle East, we have a crisis in the Levant. Arab nationalism and Turkish imperialism have finally found themselves at odds, as talks over this Sinai-Palestine issue have collapsed after Egypt marched its army through the Sinai Desert. Nominally united until 1914, the 2 leading powers in the Middle East are now set on a course to decide the destiny of the region. Even as the Egyptians can count on an array of allies in the other Arab states, many fear that it won't be enough, as the military and economic capacity of the Turkish Empire for now still vastly outclasses that of its rival. Foreign investors are watching the conflict with fear, as the oil reservoirs of the Middle East have become more important than ever with the collapse of authority in the United States. What about the oil? Who cares about other things? So we are going to be supporting the Egyptians simply out of historical revisionism, and because we would like to ensure that the old Central Powers don't get together again and grind away at potential support for the German Empire. And the Arab people of Greater Syria have finally decided to throw off the yoke and have joined their Arab brethren in Cairo. Yeah, like I said, this isn't going to last long. Fighting for the liberation of the Mashriq and the creation of a new Arab Middle East, Syrians from all religions and ethnic groups are uniting to rid themselves of Turkish rule. Ambitions of individual leaders and disagreements between the various partners of the Cairo Pact, however, may lead to issues should the common threat be dealt with, as the ideas of greater Syrian independence aren't compatible with Farouk's designs of an Arab state ruled from Cairo. Yeah, that's going to be a short-lived one, but Egypt might have a different interest. The Dominion of Canada would like to purchase some of the aircraft. Yeah, they can have them. I need all the industry I can get in order to get through the construction tasks. And we have some networks now in Italy, so we could potentially begin infiltrating the civilian administration, but I don't think it's worth it. I'm really just more after the intelligence that we get from figuring out what's going on the ground. Yeah, we're just holding the lines here as much as we can, and until the situation has clarified itself. Here the troops are moving. The tanks are disengaging from that unenviable position in the south, or at least trying to, while the infantry on the ground is still viciously fighting it out. But we'll attempt to. Oh yeah, we've lost Jefferson City. We're being pushed back on all fronts now. We still have an opportunity to close this cauldron, but the opportunity is shrinking fast as troops get pushed back everywhere. So now the first tanks are arriving in the north, and 4th is immediately going on the defensive. But we'll try to break through the plains here in Missouri and see if we can manage to cut off the Syndicalists there. But yeah, the initial lines here are starting to falter really, which I am not happy with. I'm not sure if we overextended or simply can these troops, maybe once these troops here, that's like 4 divisions in the north, so it's not an awful lot. But we might have overextended a little bit eastwards and left this here for too long. So this enables the troops inside to actually break out. Now the problem is going to be once they start taking additional supply positions. So right now Kansas City is kind of essential that doesn't fall, and the same with Omaha and then Minneapolis in the north. But yeah, Kansas City is kind of worrying because there's not an awful lot, and they're running suicidal attacks, of course, trying to take the river here while being threatened from the east. Okay, so while that's going on, we're still trying to disengage from the southern positions and get into an area where we can finally start. Are we on plan preparation is nowhere near. And Kurdistan declared war on the Ottoman Empire. So the Kurds now have joined the party. But we'll see. We'll see how this is going to end up working. Definitely, the Egyptians are making some progress through the Sinai towards Jerusalem. China lines are holding. Yeah, I'm not interested in offensive actions here. We're just holding the lines at this point. And we could try to push them back over the river to improve our position here, to be honest. Might give it a spin. Let's see if this works. It might work. And if we can push the Fengtians back over the river, then we have a more defensible position here. But not going to go any further. Okay, tanks have returned, and in Sicily we are desperately holding the line against enemy counterattacks. And I think we'll be doing that for quite a while until we have actually managed to somewhat dig in and improve our positions here. All right, back to the States. Okay, we've got all 3 tank divisions in place now. We just need to defend the defeat the enemy attack. The problem is going to be supply. I think. This is actually probably, now that Jefferson City has fallen, this is the best option here to counterattack across the river once we've defeated this. And that should give us an option to cut everything off. They've vacated Kansas City because we are about to lose. We're about to lose everything here. So this is something we need to do. Okay, where are we with? Okay, we're done with the stranglehold. So we now have an additional. Current influence level is low, which means that German economic influence is getting reduced, and we need to get that to 0. So the next one should be, let me have a look what we can do. 90 days, I think they're all 90 days. 90 days, 90 days, 90 days, 90 days, 90 days, yeah. All right, which ones have negative impact? This doesn't have any negative impact, but also nothing positive. This costs us stability, don't want it. This gives me dockyards, don't need it. This gives us, this costs consumer goods factory, but gives political power. And makes it 2, but that costs 80. That might actually be interesting. However, it is expensive. And especially 8% consumer goods is quite pricey. This gives us an gives us an industrial concern, which I might not need. This unlocks a few decisions for additional minerals, and this gives me 5% stability. And Japan loses resource rights on Sakhalin. Yeah, I think we'll do this one. And then I might actually go with the Buchhaltungs- und Kreditbank, the Accounting and Credit Bank. That's a very descriptive name, that is. In order to get it to 0. So let's do this one. And we still have 47 political power. Like I said, I'm trying to bank it up a little bit at this point. All right, so we are going to immediately counterattack once we've defeated the assault from the 5th Indiana Red Guard. And before the 13th Illinois can actually dig in here. So we have to wait until that's happened. It has. And now immediate counterattack, which isn't ideal, but given the retreat we're seeing along the whole front line, it's becoming a little urgent at this point that we are breaking through here and collapsing this cauldron, because we are running out of troops. They have, I think the friendly troops have severely overextended eastwards after we've opened up this front. And they've reinforced. That is, of course, unfortunate. Yemen has rebelled as well. So yet another player. And yeah, the Syrians actually are making headway. The Egyptians as well. Where are the Ottoman troops? To be fair, there's not much going on here. We're still far, far away from a land breakthrough. We could spend it on the military engineering vehicles. So what would this give us? The super heavy artillery, which I am not sure what it is. I think it's probably a unit. This is equipment. So that would be, I'm not sure for what, but we'll find out. But that's an actually the unit. So no, we'll save up for that. I'm interested in that. We'll get to that. All right, so China, we are with some Japanese here, but I think we have a chance here of pushing them back beyond the river. And here, of course, they have they've massively reinforced. So if we can't push them out in time, then yeah, and because we are going to be losing the position north of Kansas City. This is going bad very quickly here. If we can't push them out, yeah, we can't push across the river. So we'll have to abandon the assault. We'll wait and see if some of the divisions are vacating their positions. And leave the defense to the 13th Illinois, or if yeah, it looks like 2 divisions are moving out. So we're going to give them some time to retreat here. And then we'll launch another attack, because yeah, although launching the attack here is probably not going to do an awful lot, because Kansas City is falling actually. We just have to wait for these troops to get out of there. Yeah, Kansas, they're pushed back towards Kansas, so we'll have more direction to go. But we will see. We will see if we can still manage to break through anywhere here, really. And we'll just have to wait for the 4th Pittsburgh to get out of there, and then we'll take on the 13th Illinois Continentals again. I think by then the tanks have reasonably rearmed. Sicily, okay. We're starting to see weakness in the enemy divisions. Now, this is a very crowded battlefield. We can't directly go towards Ancona, but that would be an interesting position to take. We're far away from being fully planned, so we've got 2 enemy divisions dug in the mountains that prevent us from, or alternatively we could join the assault and just simply push towards Ancona along the lines without trying to encircle anybody. I think yeah, it's 5 divisions. It'd be very tempting, but I don't think we'll have time to break through there. We'll sit tight for a little bit longer. I need to get my my shortcuts rearranged. So that's number 1, that's number 2, that's number 3, and that's number 4. Okay, there we are. All right. So back to the States, where we have keeping an eye on things. And the Egyptian divisions have arrived. So that's the Egyptian volunteers. and they're going to be control group number 5 in Alexandria. Okay, far from the front line. Wow, the Ottomans are breaking apart very rapidly here. I did not expect that to happen. Okay, well then, let us assist, shall we? First order is to move. Okay, Jerusalem has already been liberated by the Syrians, so we'll see. We'll get the troops. We'll get the troops moved towards Jerusalem, and then we'll see if we can help clearing out the Ottoman positions from there. But here in the States, we're still waiting for that one division to move out before we make another. Make another attempt at closing, at least clearing out some of this territory around Des Moines. Okay, never mind. They are actually attacking again. Okay, we'll see. That's good. That's the fourth Pittsburgh Red Guard should still move out, and then we can launch the counterattack against the weakened Illinois Continentals. But these guys have to go first. Otherwise, we'll be struggling to get. Okay, they've reinforced again. Never mind. We'll have another attempt at breaking the lines because it is taking them forever to get out of there. At least they can't break the armor of these, or can't penetrate the armor of these light tank divisions. So we'll see if we can. We'll see if we can manage to break through, push the 13th Illinois out, and the rest of them. Yeah, it's just militia. We should be able to make a break, and then we will see if we can secure the northern flank of Kansas City here, and close the cauldron before the whole front line collapses on the east, because that's something I'm starting to get a little concerned about. All right, let's see if we can breach that. Sicily. Yeah, I think assisting with taking. Assisting in the east is probably the best bet here. We'll open the front line a little bit. We'll bring additional divisions in, which will free up. Which will get everyone across the river, and free up the German divisions to help with the assault north. Papal volunteers are simply on the defense at this point, and Chinese volunteers have secured the river line. Well done. So we've pushed the Japanese back over the river. So that has sort of secured a defensible position here, and I think that's simply where we're going to be staying for the time being, was in this somewhat static war. In the States, however, it is getting increasingly critical. Unfortunately, it is now January and everything's freezing over, which means that getting these two infantry divisions, these two militia divisions evicted here is going to be significantly more difficult. But we'll give it a shot. Their problem is obviously that they can't penetrate the armor. Our problem is that we have to attack into the hills across the river. But we don't really have a good alternative, really. We could try to push south and then use the momentum. Mexico declared war on El Salvador. The troops in Egypt have arrived. Okay, let us immediately begin trying to clear out enemy positions. On January 3rd, 1939, chairman of the National Committee of Poland, Roman Dmowski, passed away at 75 years old in Moscow. The father of national democracy and a longtime ally of Russia, Dmowski was given a state funeral, attended even by Vladimir III himself. A longtime deist, he was given a church service. As Roman Dmowski was being buried at Novodevichy Cemetery, his own government in exile almost destroyed itself over the matter of Dmowski's legacy. In the end, the conflict between the old guard and the young guard was resolved by electing Doboshinsky, a recent exile, as a middle ground between them. Some say that in his final days, Dmowski, clouded by his recent stroke, seemed to go back to the old times of the 1890s. Once he got anxious about not getting any letters from his long-term rival, Pilsudski, stating that the postal office must have made some mistake. Why else wouldn't he have written to him? However, he did not seem to understand that his rival passed some time ago in 1935. It is always sad when people in their age are losing their mental faculties. This is really something that to be scared of, I think, personally. All right, I think the last action we will do for today is it's getting rather warm in here. We're talking 39 degrees Celsius today. So I don't want to run the aircon because then you have that grumbling humming in the background while I do that. It is getting rather warm, so I'm about to end this episode, but I do want to see if we can actually manage to break through here. Now we are getting counterattack from the south, which is very unfortunate. But I don't want to give them an opportunity to rest. How's Sicily looking? Okay, Sicily looking good. Okay, so attack south has been defeated. You know what? Instead of trying to force the bridge into the hills, we're simply going to attack south and then see if we can, because we can't reconnect here anyway, see if we can retake Jefferson. And if we can get across the plains here, that's also not ideal, but we may be able to reconnect south. No, not really. Okay, we'll move south and then we will use our momentum to push across the river there and into undefended territory. So that should give us an opportunity potentially to retake Jefferson City, secure the eastern passes of Kansas City, and we'll just have to... Do we have infantry support? We do not. Okay, so we have to leave one division behind. That is unfortunate because I do need all the firepower that I can get. But yeah, we'll move the tank division in to the northern approach. No, never mind. They have reinforced. Okay, in that case, we will we will stop the assault, and if we can try. Okay, they're counterattacking, but we are going to try. We'll just have to shorten the front lines. We are going to try and see if we can make our way south before they get there and make a way across the river anywhere, really. All right, we'll pin them in place here. We'll move 2 tank divisions south across the river, and then we will attempt to reconnect at Jefferson City and to close the cauldron, because they're almost in Minneapolis at this point. And Springfield's getting threatened from the south as well. And they're not making any progress in the north here either. So very much of a difficult situation for the next episode. China, we're holding the line. Sicily, we're holding the line, but assisting with a river crossing to unblock all these troops moving northwards. And how's it looking in Egypt? In Egypt, we have just found a massive amount of Turkish troops who have broken through the Syrian lines and are looking to destroy the Syrian rebels in the north, which means the Jerusalem front is probably going to become the new front line. They are making their way into Jabal Shammar out of Syria. Which side are these guys on? They're not in a faction, but they're on the other side. So this is redrawing the whole Middle East here. That could get really, really interesting. Maybe especially once the Persians get involved. So we'll see what we can do. But right now, Jerusalem is under Syrian control, and Egyptian troops are arriving, and hopefully we can. What's the supply? Okay, Jerusalem is the supply hub, but they are still, they're still having trouble with the railways. Oh, because it's Syria, and the capital of Syria is well, technically Damascus, but I don't even know where their capital currently is. So yeah, supply is going to be difficult here. We do need trucks, but we'll see what we can do in the next episode. And now I will go and switch on the aircon because I am absolutely boiling.